guests here. I hope everyone can hear me at the back of the room. Would you please say no if you can? Can you hear me all right?
Yes, sir.
Thank you. I was born down in Warwick, a little clapboard shack. Had two brothers and a sister. I was inside the house, wasn't sure very much. It was back in the days when they didn't take a picture of their this day and afternoon and put it on Facebook. But my father learned to fire boilers on one of these. Can you see it at all?
Oh, yes.
That's a steam tractor. He came from Arkansas to my uncle's farm when he was 12 years old, and then when he was 15, they got the tractor and he learned to fire steam. That's what he did for the rest of his life. Excuse me. I couldn't find anything thinking back. Being born in Warwick and growing up here in Lawton doesn't inform me toward being here tonight. I got to wonder, how did I get here? You know, that's what genealogy is all about. How did I get here? And checking back, my cousin seemed to find out that we were some kind of royalty over me. At least King had special quarters for us. And then when they shipped him over to the new land, he came on His Majesty's ships, prison ships there was. But they seemed to do all right. And in a generation, some of them sold plantations in Virginia and South Carolina, moved through the Cumberland Gap into the Valley of the Three Forks, moved westward into Tennessee, Kentucky, then to Arkansas and Illinois. And some of my maternal folks moved down to Texas, to the Republic of Texas. And that's where we got transplanted into the city, into Oklahoma. I'm gonna have to sit down for a while, sorry. My mother was born down in the north bank of the Red River at the Chickasaw Nation, in Oklahoma Territory. My father migrated to Oklahoma from Arkansas to Oklahoma Territory. And one of the functions out in the country at that time was pie supper. My mother happened to be quite good at making pretty beautiful pies. And if there's anything my dad was good at, it was eating them. So they made her the pie supper, and you can blame the pies for me. My two brothers were born in Warwick, and my dad got a job with the oil companies in Tulsa, firing boilers. Had a race ride up there, and he moved up to Warwick. Got a job with the Chickasha Cottonseed Oil Mill here in Lawton. And they brought me here when I was a year and a half old. I remember because I had a hard time helping load the furniture. My first memory was down 315I. You look at it now, a paved road, and canal is underneath the pavement. We moved there, it was a gravel road with an open canal down through the center of the road. And I remember a little girl next door that I played with. And I picked up a stray cat, made a pet out of it. It had kittens. Well, spring came along. And typical to Lawton, it was a downpour. And the canal that usually had a trickle in the bottom started having a little bit more, and eventually it was to the top of the canal and spilling over into the street, across our lawn, and came into the house. My father came wading home from work and carried us up to 8th Street. Some kind folks took us in. But that was when we started looking for higher ground. Moved from there to 805H. That building happens to still be there. But they got a different toy. It was real modern. They had a stool that looked like a cast iron ice cream cone. Didn't have any trap at the bottom, and had a 1/2-inch pipe that went in the top. And when you turned that water on, it sounded like it was going to take you right down to Hades. Scared me to death. My brothers and my dad all wore long pants, but you'll see it later, I wore pretty little sunsuits. I was real cute. I hated those things. And one day when we lived at 805H, my dad took me over to Sasser's General Store. Turned into a grocery store later, but it was a general store then. He bought me a pair of coveralls, long pants like men. And I think it cost 35 cents. But my mother was real unhappy for him spending that money when he didn't have to be. My mother got a small inheritance from Daddy's farm about the time we lived on H. And Mrs. Waldman was selling some property out in Warden Addition. We have a park named after her now. And a sweet old German lady. But we bought a 1/2 block of land from her, and that was my playground growing up. There was a German barn on the property, and as a family, we tore that barn down to build a 2-room house, similar to the one I was born in. I didn't do a very good job pulling the shingle nails out because our first roof just leaked. We used every pot in the house trying to catch water. A little creek down close to us. Still I go down there and hunt, gig frogs. My brothers took me down there snipe hunting. My sister loved me. I don't know why, but she kind of told me about snipe hunting. They took me down to the creek to go snipe hunting, and they left me. They were down there for about 2 or 3 hours trying to find me while I was back home asleep. I had a boy across the street from me, and 2 girls and a boy lived just down house or so from there. It was my playmates. Son of the boy across the street is down the veterans home right now. I've never seen him. We attended Beulah Heights Presbyterian Church. quite faithfully. And, of course, we didn't drive the car at church. In those days, the only time you started a car, if you had one, was if you were going out of town. We had a team of mules. If we were going to go after groceries, we hooked the mules up bad to feed them anyhow. Drove them down to an interesting social center in downtown Oklahoma, then down Hall. On the corner of 3rd and F, there was a quarter block of land. And there's a watering trough there. And people drove in from the farms, parked their wagons and horses, put their kids in under the wagon, let the dog stay there beside the wagon, tied the team on the back of the wagon so they could eat the hay. And then they took their cream, eggs, chickens, feathers, and all those things to sell over to Claps Produce. And they figured very highly in the social center on Saturday. If you didn't go to Claps Produce, you must be selling to the people that did. Stewart Grocery built a grocery store across the street from the wagon yard. They didn't last very long until Humpty Dumpty bought out. And I went to work for Humpty Dumpty, started learning to be a meat cutter. Before that, I drove a delivery truck for a smaller grocery store. I was 13 when I started driving a delivery truck. Didn't have to have a driver's license, Oklahoma didn't have it. About the time I was 13, we also got electricity out of our house. Got electric iron, refrigerator, radio, and one thing I want to mention about my dad's work, they had a big lever up on the wall. He's filing 3 big boilers and running a big steam engine. 6, 7, and 8 in the morning, and 5 and 6 in the evening. I went over and pulled this big lever, and a steam whistle on top of the plant sent an echo all over Oklahoma, all over Comanche County, that you could hear, and people set their clock. Of course, it didn't always get it exactly right because of time travel. We had a big garden. Put food under the house, canned food in the cellar. My mother went to PTA every meeting. Church women's circle. She managed the dollars in the house, and Dad managed to make them. She was also the doctor, nurse, and the disciplinarian. My dad was always working. And my mother had, back then they run machinery, it was lace leather. And when you had to put a belt together, you used lace leather, which was very pliable. And she had a piece of leather about this long, lace leather. And when you were introduced to it, you didn't want it anymore. My brother was born with osteomyelitis. Had to make several trips to the Children's Hospital in Oklahoma City. Joe Reed ran the little grass field, we called it Mare Field down there, down on 6th and Bishop Road. He flew my brother back and forth at least 3 times without any charge at all. Saw that he got to the hospital. We had no money to bring it back. One place I told most people about that know me, down there close to where we lived on High Avenue was a park, Union Park. It's a place you could go and be cool when it was wearing up hot in August. And when I was a teenager, we'd go down there and gather together, wrestle, box, smooch, and we would play guitars, fiddles, harmonica, spoons, all those technical instruments like rubboard, and we'd have a pretty good crowd gathered around listening to music quite often. All that was just fine. Then the war came along. And I don't know where everybody went. Some came home, some didn't. Some came home and didn't have a home. 2 men that I know came home and decided to go on the robbery spree around the penitentiary. I think Dan has a picture of one guy that came home there. Sorry if I threw you a curve.
Yeah.
While he's doing that, let me tell you. I started doing some genealogical research, and then my daughter took it up. And last year she presented me with this. Pretty nice work. And she's still working on the genealogical research. Several branches of the family. But 2 other cousins, they got into genealogical research, and they started traveling around looking and so forth. And they came up with a little pamphlet on the subject. This research goes back to the 1400s. Wow. On my maternal side of the family, one of the authors of this book called me 3 days ago. She's 92 years old. And she always rubs it in on me because I'm the youngest. She just had laser surgery on her eyes, and she was reading without glasses. Wow. I had the same thing done a year ago, and I can see all. Wow. It's wonderful.
Well, he'll have a birthday on the 25th.
Yep.
He'll be 92.
29.
I thought you could see. I didn't know you was dyslexic. Okay. I just had some pictures that I pulled off our site and off his ancestry site. I went over to his daughter's ancestry.com and pulled off some pictures she had posted.
I understand you probably the house I blew up in. Wasn't that his house?
Now, is that you on the left there? Those 2 men that you had there?
No, that's my Uncle Jeanette.
Okay. But that's you on the right?
That's both of me.
Both of you?
Yep.
Okay.
What are you holding in your hand?
One on this side is it taken in Japan. The one on that side is out on the lock on High Avenue.
Okay.
What are you holding?
That's work, huh?
But yeah.
That's a samurai sword.
Okay. Okay. Yeah.
Okay.
My mother-
There you go.
Yeah.
My mother liked me to hand it up for pictures.
His mother, when I first met Arlie, when I first started doing the page, he had asked me to do an online search for a picture that when you and your brother were in the service and your mother hadn't heard from you in so
Yeah.
long.
Yeah.
And then there was a picture in the paper. Tell them about that.
That was November 1945.
Yeah, anyway, she hadn't heard from him in a year.
Well, at that time, we were not alone until everyone where we were at.
So there was I found the picture of him and his brother both.
That's my uncle, my mother, another uncle, and my favorite aunt.
Which one is your mother?
1928 new car.
That's your mom. That's the mom.
Which one's your mother, Arlie? That one?
This is your mother, right?
Yes. That's my mother and father in front of their house. There's a rose bush and honeysuckle behind it. And a load smelling in the morning. There is a picture you talked about.
This is the one that was in the paper?
That's one that was in the paper.
Yeah.
He got leave to come down to visit me in Camp Fenton, Texas.
Is this the one that had the bone disease?
No.
No. He could join the army. Here's him short pants.
Yeah, that's the ones I hated.
Okay.
At least you had a belt.
Hmm?
At least you had a belt. And that's his sister Pauline, right?
Yep. She was my little mother. That's my mother, and two brothers, sister, and me. Those before my older brother and I went in the service, and after my younger brother, well, my middle brother, had been in the service and been disability discharge. That's the old carton gin that used to be down on the corner of 2nd and G. That and the cottonseed oil mill at cotton ginning time, that entire part of lot had cotton blossoms hanging from every tree. Every,
You can see it littering all over the ground.
Yeah.
At one time, that was the largest cotton gin in the Southwest.
I didn't know a lot of these people too well, but I knew their cooks. When I delivered groceries, I went to the back door.
Okay.
That's why I picked this one, because he said when he was 13, he delivered groceries on a bicycle. So he went to these houses bringing
Now,
groceries.
I was driving a truck.
Oh, you driving a truck, that's right. Because when we went to one, I bet you had a bike that you said you drove a
Yeah.
bike on one. That was something.
Now, I was doing big chase.
Maybe your uncle, I don't know. That's I found on his ancestry site.
That's my aunt and uncle, the mother and father of the co-author of this book. That's the Rock Island Railroad depot. That's the old Presbyterian church down in D, I think it was, 7th and D.
Before all the add-ons.
No, that's the,
The first one, I have another one.
chapel 7th and D.
I have another one.
They called it the Little Chapel last time.
Yeah. And it's,
Angus Hospital.
Yeah.
That Angus Hospital?
That's the Angus Hospital in the 30s. Dr. Angus saved him and his mother.
Yeah, and then his two sons wound up with him in this hospital, and they saved my father one time. He had an accident, almost severed the lower muscle in his back.
You look like your mother, Arlie.
Yeah, I'm in Fridge home. That's my two nieces, my older brother's two daughters. The little girl is the only living niece I have left. She still lives here at home. The old mention. That's the old Beal Line Presbyterian Church. That's where I learned what it's like to be in church.
And the Bell Heights is the Maddie Bell with the land that she gave to build the church.
That's right.
Okay.
Was the front facing the same way it does now, or is that facing far?
Oh, it faced out toward Park.
Toward Park, that's what I thought in the
So
picture.
what 100 block was that?
Seventh and Park.
Seventh and Park.
Yeah, I think I went there when I was a kid.
That church was raised in
Faces seven.
that church was torn down in 1936.
So we didn't
Because
have
I
a
didn't-
choir room or anything, but some reason or other, the little children just knew they were supposed to be some choir. And we started learning to sing, almost pointing to the words in the songbook. Carnegie Library.
Oh, okay.
Nice, sweet, wonderful Carnegie Library.
We went over and took a tour of the inside Carnegie Library before we came over here.
Oh, how'd you get in?
It's the first time I've been in the building since 1941.
Does it still have the same smell? Or does it smell? What does it take to get in to see it? I would love to.
Well, a lot of begging.